The Earth's spiritual energy is scarce, and the immortal path has been cut off. Crossing into the world of Hokage and the Uchiha family, Ye Feng embarks on the path of cultivating immortality. The talent is not good, and the extracted chakras are pitifully scarce. Not afraid, I have immortal methods driving the energy of nature with the human body. Even if you are nine-tailed, you still have to lie down for me. Watching Ye Feng stir up the wind and clouds flatten the universe, create a different world of Hokage. Chapter 1. Crossing, Woodleaf. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The drizzling rain covered a village surrounded by trees, and a pitch-black wooden room was illuminated by a lightning bolt. A child suddenly woke up with a frightened expression on his face, and then his head was in a tearing pain. Fragmented memory fragments kept crowding his brain. Where am I? This is my. Ye Feng is a coach at a fitness club who teaches his family's martial arts. It is said that his ancestors were a cultivator who left behind half of the unnamed cultivation techniques. It is said that he learned from high and deep places and even ascended to become an immortal. However, this legend cannot be verified because the spiritual energy of the earth is becoming increasingly scarce, and in modern times, there is almost no spiritual energy left, making it difficult to condense it. Ye Feng has loved reading novels since he was young, and he also fantasized about one day being able to cultivate, move mountains and fill the sea, and fly with swords. Since hearing about the stories of my ancestors, I have memorized the passed-down cultivation techniques proficiently, constantly trying to cultivate them, hoping that one day I can cultivate true Qi and become the cultivator who moves mountains and fills the sea. Unfortunately, after more than 20 years of practice, I have not made any progress. Instead, I am extremely familiar with the corresponding moves. Although I do not have true Qi, I still have a certain power and my body is stronger than that of ordinary people. That morning, just in time for the rush hour to work, Ye Feng, who was about to be late, quickly ran towards the club with bread in his mouth. Only a burst of screams and rapid honking could be heard, and Ye Feng turned around to see a car rushing towards a child squatting in the middle of the road picking up toys. The child was not far from Ye Feng, in a dangerous moment. In an instant, Ye Feng judged that he could rush over at his own speed to hug the child and avoid the impact of the car. So Ye Feng rushed forward without hesitation. But coincidentally, a woman with a bag next to her exclaimed in surprise as she covered her mouth, causing the bag in her hand to swing and directly hit Ye Feng's face, causing her head to be confused and her speed to suddenly decrease. However, due to inertia, her body still rushed forward at that moment. Ye Feng couldn't control his body. When he saw the situation again, he had already reached the center of the road, and the front of the car was also in front of him. Looking at the child in front of him, Ye Feng's heart turned sideways, and his feet exerted force to make his inertia rush forward. His body leaped up into the air, and his forward body extended its hands, pushing the child away from the car. In the next second, he heard a huge collision sound, and then fell into the darkness. Woodleaf. Ye Feng, who woke up in shock, looked at his small hands and recalled the sudden surge of memories. For otaku Ye Feng, Naruto is a hot-blooded anime that he loves very much. He continues to follow the series until the end, and still has endless memories. The hot-blooded storyline, gorgeous fighting scenes, and touching emotional bonds inside are all Ye Feng's favorites. Am I crossing over now? Or am I from the Uchiha clan? I'm only 4 years old. The parents of this body are both medium ninja, with average aptitude. They only opened a jade writing will I, and their ability improvement was very slow afterwards. Their obvious potential was basically fully tapped. This time they went out to carry out a mission, and together with another teammate and the leader of the team, Ninja was not able to come back, which was judged as sacrifice. Uchibo Ye Feng, who received the news, couldn't bear the blow and fainted directly. Ye Feng suddenly woke up and realized that the Uchiha clan had been wiped out by Uchiha Itachi later on. Fortunately, it's only the beginning of the 41st year of the Kiba era, and there are still 17 years left until the 58th year of the Kiba era. I still have a long time to prepare. Shouldn't all the travelers have some golden fingers? Where are my golden fingers? The system comes out, Molly Molly coax. Sesame opens the door. I command you as the master. Ye Feng tried for 2 hours but didn't find any golden fingers, feeling a wave of disappointment in his heart. But the next second, something seemed to come to mind, and my eyes lit up. Does my body have any natural talent? Writing will eyes. Ye Feng thought of this and immediately got up to look in the mirror. Based on his past memory, he tried to write the method of opening his eyes with a wheel eye. He concentrated for a while, but after frowning and making eye movements, he did not notice any signs of opening his eyes. Talent is not about writing will eyes. Is it a cultivation talent? But as a 4-year-old child, I haven't started practicing yet, right? I should be able to try practicing chakra. Ye Feng immediately began rummaging through the boxes and cabinets, searching inside and outside the room, even the land where flowers were grown in the small courtyard. He only found 3 scrolls. Fire escape. The art of huge fireball, fire escape. The art of phoenix fire, and chakra cultivation, all of which were seed-level endurance spells with fire attributes. However, it is not surprising that the vast majority of the Uchiha clan have fire attributes. Uchiha Ye Feng's parents are also just mediocre ninjas and do not have a good background. Naturally, they do not have any advanced ninjutsu scrolls at home. Chapter 2. Feng Shui Gate. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Ye Feng immediately opened chakra cultivation technique. Fortunately, Ye Feng's parents had taught him how to read before his death, so he also knew the words on the scroll. Chakra is the conversion of human, animal, physical energy. The process of creating a chakra involves the conversion of physical and mental strength, which is quite simple. However, controlling the chakra accurately is not as easy. It is important to control the chakra accurately. If only 30% of the energy is needed but 45% is produced, it is equivalent to indirectly consuming physical energy. A strong mind is needed to control the energy of the mind and physical strength. Fortunately, due to his time traveling, Ye Feng's spirit is stronger than that of his peers, making learning and controlling his mind relatively easier. In no time, he can easily control the energy of his mind and body. Suddenly, Ye Feng felt like a genius, a destined person. But after a while, he didn't think that much anymore. Although Ye Feng was mentally strong, his physical energy was extremely limited, and there were very few chakras that could be condensed. After a night, he only condensed a few chakras, feeling like they would be naturally depleted at any time. Is it because I didn't practice properly? I practiced according to the way on the scroll. Is there a problem with the scroll? Just as Ye Feng was puzzled, a sudden gurgling sound rang out. Looking at the sun that had already risen above his head outside, he realized that he had not eaten anything for a whole day. Looking at the empty room, fortunately, there are some coins left by myself and found everywhere in the room. Although there are not many coins, they are enough to solve my problem of eating and drinking this month. It's time to taste the famous Yaolamian noodles. But after turning around in the leaves, I didn't find a piece of happy Lamian noodles. Suddenly, I patted my forehead in frustration and thought. I'm really stupid. At this time, Yaolamian noodles hasn't appeared yet. I don't know where to learn cooking. Ye Feng had no choice but to find a restaurant with good business, which was already crowded with many people. He found a vacant spot and casually ordered some udon noodles and some snacks. Looking at the decoration and layout of the restaurant, it is very similar to Yaolamian noodles in the animation, but there are many places to eat. Ye Feng thought that the taste here should be good. Still observing Ye Feng. Suddenly, I felt a figure sitting in the empty seat next to me. Subconsciously, I turned my head and saw that the most prominent thing was a head of yellow hair. However, I didn't see my face clearly, only took a rough glance, as if it was a young man. Perhaps sensing Ye Feng's gaze, the young man with yellow hair turned his head to look at him and showed a sunny, handsome, and gentle smile. instantly giving Ye Feng a sense of closeness. Ye Feng looked at the other person, with yellow hair. It looks like an age of 13 or 14. Sunshine, handsome, gentle smile. Combined with the current moment, Ye Feng suddenly remembered someone and thought to himself. Isn't this the wave-wind-water gate that I really like? Ye Feng's pupils dilated, thinking that his mouth didn't stop, and he instinctively exclaimed in surprise. You are Bo Feng Shui men. Do you know me? Bo Feng Shui also had some doubts about how Ye Feng knew him. Ye Feng also felt that his appearance was a bit out of place, so he showed a look of admiration and said, I have heard of you, saying you are a genius, helpful, and gentle. In short, Ye Feng said a lot, and Bo Feng Shui men was also praised by Ye Feng, causing him to feel embarrassed. He kept scratching his head and thinking to himself. I'm just a commoner, but I actually have a little fan of Uchiha. So the more Bo Feng Shui men looked at Ye Feng, the more pleasing he became, and even his tone became much more enthusiastic. I don't happen to lack someone to teach chakra cultivation, so I'm here to deliver it. Ye Feng suddenly thought of his difficulties and took this opportunity to quickly say to the wave-wind-water gate. Can I ask you some cultivation questions? Sure, anytime. I'll take you to the training ground after dinner, replied Bo Feng Shui with magnanimity. Get it done. So Bo Feng Shui Gate and Ye Feng ended their lunch in this joyful atmosphere, and Ye Feng followed Bo Feng Shui Gate to the training ground. Arrived at the training ground, Bo Feng Shui said, You're still so young, you probably can't learn ninjutsu yet. It's a problem with chakra cultivation, right? Well, I just started learning to condense chakras, but there are very few chakras that have been condensed, so I want to see if the cultivation method is wrong. Here is the scroll of my cultivation. Can you help me see what the problem is? Ye Feng said and handed the chakra cultivation technique to Bo Feng Shui Gate. The wave-wind-water gate took the scroll and opened it, frowning slightly before saying. Now you're condensing chakra, let me see the process of your condensation. After listening, Ye Feng sat down and began to condense the chakra. The handle of the wave feng shui door was placed on Ye Feng's shoulder, and Ye Feng felt a warm chakra emanating from the handle of the wave feng shui door. A quarter of an hour passed quickly, and the hand of the wave-wind-water gate was also taken away. With a somewhat hopeful expression, he said. There is no problem with the cultivation method of the scroll, but it's because you have some physical problems and seem to be weak, indicating that you are not very suitable for being a ninja. Chapter 3. True Chi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Not suitable for being a ninja. Ye Feng's face turned into an incredible expression, and he kept repeating the phrase, not suitable for being a ninja. Consolidating chakras requires a certain proportion of spiritual and physical energy to be condensed together in order to form chakras. With the energy generated by your current body being extremely scarce, there will be very few chakras that can be condensed. Although you are still a child and will have some improvement in the future, based on your current physical foundation, there will not be a significant improvement. It is better to find another way out and do some other business. Bo Feng Shui said with a regretful expression. Ye Feng's heart is also very restless now. Chakra is the foundation of a ninja, and the scarcity of chakra means that he is destined not to become a powerful ninja, even a physical ninja cannot. In the future, there will be a third ninja world war, the Nine Tails Rebellion, the invasion of the Shao organization, and the Fourth World War. How can Ye Feng survive? Ye Feng couldn't help but curse at the heavens, oh my goodness, you let me cross over, even if the golden finger doesn't give me it, but why is this talent so poor? Bo Feng Shui men looked at Ye Feng with a sad and angry expression, and knew that Ye Feng was upset about the chakra extraction problem. He immediately said, You are a member of the Uchiha clan, and no one dares to bully you in the village in the future. If you don't get along, you can come to me and I will protect you. However, Ye Feng couldn't listen to Bo Feng Shui men's words and felt that the road ahead was vast and gloomy. Ye Feng listlessly thanked Bo Feng Shui men for their kindness and walked towards home, feeling somewhat lost. Bo Feng Shui men looked at Ye Feng's appearance, and there were also some male bullies. However, Bo Feng Shui men had a heart to comfort him, but didn't know what to say. He opened his mouth several times but didn't say anything. He watched Ye Feng leave helplessly, and finally turned into a sigh. Ye Feng, who returned home, didn't know how to go in the future. He couldn't become a powerful ninja, could he really only be a commoner? But the world of Hokage is a world where strength can be considered, and without strength, one can only be controlled by others. Ye Feng is very unwilling. Is crossing over just to live an ordinary life? Do you still have to be like in the previous life, without power, or money, unable to even afford a girlfriend, and only stronger in fighting, with some empty moves that are stronger than ordinary people? Wait, empty moves, cultivation techniques, cultivation of immortals. A flash of lightning flashed through Ye Feng's mind, and his eyes became bright. In Ye Feng's previous life, he was unable to cultivate immortals due to the lack of spiritual energy. However, this was a world of fire shadows. Although chakra was not spiritual energy, there was natural energy here. However, the original work also mentioned that natural abilities were somewhat dangerous and could easily turn into stone statues. However, now Ye Feng has no other choice, and he thinks he should be careful. There shouldn't be any problems, so he should be a dead horse and live horse doctor. So Ye Feng calmed down, sat cross-legged on the bed, closed his eyes, and began to operate the cultivation method of his past life, feeling the natural energy around him. 15 minutes later, Ye Feng opened his eyes in surprise, and indeed he could sense some bright white energy floating around him through the cultivation technique. Ye Feng dare not be impatient now, just guiding the white energy to condense together bit by bit and then introducing it into his dantian through the meridians, transforming it into a strand of true qi. The meridians of the human body have long been firmly remembered by Ye Feng in his mind. After all, even if there is no success in repeating things for more than 20 years, he is proficient in the methods and minds, it's done. Ye Feng was extremely happy. Although it was just a small strand, it meant that this method was valid and he had found his own path to follow. According to the records of the cultivation method, if one can condense true qi, they have already stepped into the threshold of cultivation, entered the body refining realm, and used true qi to remove impurities from the body, warm and nourish the body, and strengthen the body. It is said that some powerful cultivators can smash a mountain with one punch. After refining the body, it becomes the realm of building foundations, the realm of golden pills, the realm of primordial infants, the realm of transforming gods, and the realm of crossing tribulations. When the cultivator reaches the realm of crossing tribulations, it is already unacceptable in this world. They will descend into a thunderbolt and be destroyed. There is no one who can survive under the thunderbolt. However, once they resist the thunderbolt, their body and spirit will be purified by the will of the world, and they can ascend to the upper realm and transform into immortals. However, the idea of ascending to immortality is just speculation. After all, in the past world, no one has ascended for thousands of years, and I don't know what will happen after ascending. These are not things that Ye Feng should worry about now. For Ye Feng, being able to cultivate now is a good thing. Chapter 4. Yuzhi Wave Belt Soil. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. With a direction to move forward, Ye Feng's previously worried heart also calmed down and began to calm down, preparing to study the wonderful use of true qi. However, next, Ye Feng was dumbfounded because he had just condensed a wisp of true qi, but suddenly disappeared. No matter how he sensed it, he couldn't sense it. Ye Feng, who didn't believe in evil, began to cross-legged and practiced the magic code again. With my first experience, it condensed much faster this time. After half a quarter of an hour, a strand of true qi was condensed and introduced into the elixir field. Then, I stopped practicing and my spirit was constantly sensing the state of this true qi. The true qi that had just entered the body began to gradually overflow from the dantian, dispersing along the meridians to various parts of the body, merging into the blood, muscles, bone marrow, and even a tiny part overflowing into the brain. The whole person felt a little more energetic, and it was unclear whether it was an illusion or not, and the whole body became more powerful. The disappearing true Qi is melting into various parts of Ye Feng's body, strengthening his body. After understanding the situation, Ye Feng was now full of motivation and focused on cultivating towards the peak of the fire's shadow world. Bang, bang, bang. At this moment, a knock on the door rang out, followed by a violent opening of the door. Bang. Ye Feng. Ye Feng. Don't be afraid, I'm here. Listening to this familiar voice, Ye Feng's memory flashed with the figure of a sun visor and sportswear. Immediately after, this figure appeared before my eyes. Uchibo brings soil. The little boss in the first installment of Hokage is also a tragic character. His loved one passed away and he lived in hatred until he was finally targeted and finally released on the brink of death. However, in this lifetime, they were friends of Uchibo and Ye Feng. Both of them were on the edge of Uchibo and lived close together. Uchibo had a carefree personality and liked to make friends. They were of similar age, so they often played with Uchibo and Ye Feng. The two of them often did something very different, mainly because Uchibo was doing it while Ye Feng was being pulled away. Uchibo and Tu learned about the passing of Uchibo and Ye Feng's parents, and he also fainted. He quickly ran over to check on Uchibo and Ye Feng's condition, holding Ye Feng's head and examining it up, down, left, right, and right. Seeing no injuries, he breathed a sigh of relief. Don't be afraid, I'm here. Follow me in the future and make sure you have good food and spicy drinks. Let's go, haven't you eaten yet? I'll take you for a big meal. She said as she pulled Ye Feng out. No need, I've already eaten it. Don't worry about me, I'm fine. Is it really okay? Let's go then. Lin and Ib are having a picnic, let's go too. At this moment, Ye Feng was full of cultivation, and he didn't have the mood to go on a picnic with a group of little kids. For him now, it was simply a waste of his life. He immediately said, I won't go, I want to be quiet. Okay, I'll bring you something delicious tonight. Uchibo hesitated for a moment and said. As Uchibo led the soil out of the door, Ye Feng quickly sat down and began to cultivate. Sensing the convergence of strands of true Qi, Ye Feng didn't feel bored at all. Unconsciously, it was already dark. Ye Feng opened his eyes, and what caught his eye was a large face and a sunshade that was just right within reach. This startled Ye Feng, so he dodged backwards and retreated all the way to the corner of the wall. After seeing who it was, he angrily said, People scare people, they can scare people to death. Even if you come in, don't say a word. I called you when I came in, but you didn't hear me. You've been sitting here without moving. This is food for you. What were you doing just now? Ye Feng ignored him, got up and walked over, took the food and started eating it, treating the soil as a transparent person. Why are you doing this? I bring you delicious food, why are you ignoring others? I'm practicing. You have already started practicing, and I also want to practice. Who did you learn from? Chapter 5. Cultivation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ye Feng casually threw the scroll of chakra cultivation technique beside him to Uchibo with soil, and said with a mouthful of food. Self-study. Uchibo brought the scroll with him, and the more he looked at it, the bigger his head became. He felt like he knew every word, but when combined, he couldn't understand it. He then threw the scroll back to Ye Feng. You should teach me. Looking at Uchibo with soil, Ye Feng knew it was this guy who had poor comprehension ability, and how did his intelligence become a little boss? Then he looked at Uchibo with a speechless expression. What kind of eyes are you looking at? Teaching you is giving you an opportunity. I want to become the greatest person in Hokage, and you should cherish this rare opportunity. Uchibo pointed at Ye Feng with a hint of anger and said with a hint of frustration. Ye Feng didn't argue with him either. In order to care about him and bring him food, he explained it to him. After explaining the cultivation of chakra, let Dai Tu go to practice on his own, allowing him to gather and feel chakra, while Ye Feng began to practice the method. Time passed quickly, and by the time Ye Feng opened his eyes again, it was already the appearance of early morning. Ye Feng couldn't help but sigh and say, "No wonder people say one day in a cave. It has been 1,000 years in the world, and I haven't felt the passage of time yet, so long has passed." Ye Feng looked at Uchibo and Tu, who were sleeping soundly beside him, and didn't know when he fell asleep. He even said he was practicing. At this moment, Ye Feng ignored the soil brought by Uchibo and began to check his overnight cultivation results. Ye Feng didn't know how many strands of true qi he had cultivated, but he felt that the speed of condensing true qi was getting faster and faster, and the condensed true qi had also spread to various parts of his body, strengthening muscles, bones, and meridians. Ye Feng didn't sleep that night either, but he didn't feel tired. He even felt more energetic and energetic. His vision seemed to improve, and he could see things from afar more clearly. His eyes also had a faint feeling of wanting to open their eyes. Practicing the cultivation method according to the situation not only strengthens the body, but also enhances one's spiritual power, which can be very useful for the Uchiha clan. The Uchiha clan requires great joy or sorrow to stimulate their mental power and significantly increase their mental power to open up meridians and achieve the effect of eye-opening. However, there is no orthodox and complete system in the world of Hokage to cultivate and enhance mental power, and they rely on long-term training to slowly improve their mental power. Ye Feng doesn't have this problem. He just needs to constantly practice the Dharma technique, and his spiritual power will continue to increase. His Sharingan will also open as his spiritual growth progresses. Feel the various parts of your body again, and feel that your control over your body is also more precise. Ye Feng also wanted to try to see how much his body had reached, so he got up and began practicing the matching moves of the technique. Bang! With a loud bang, Ye Feng couldn't adapt to the changes in his body and kicked the wooden door of the room to pieces. What's wrong? Did there be an earthquake? Uchibo and Tu were also awakened by the sound and immediately sat up, exclaiming in surprise. Uchibo Daitu only saw Ye Feng maintaining the action of kicking the broken wooden door with one foot, and turned his head to look at him in surprise. Daitu also noticed the broken wooden door and debris on the ground, realizing that it was Ye Feng who kicked the wooden door with one foot. Daitu immediately pointed at Ye Feng with an incredulous expression, so surprised that he wanted to speak but couldn't speak. Although the buildings in the Fire Shadow world are all made of wood, they are also very sturdy and cannot be broken by a 4-year-old child without cultivation. The expression of surprise with soil immediately changed to excitement, and he grabbed Ye Feng's shoulders with both hands, shaking and saying, "How did you become so powerful? Tell me how you did it." Ye Feng can't tell the truth to Dai Tu, he can only fabricate nonsense. "I have extraordinary talent and have already condensed chakra." Uchibo wore an incredulous expression on his face. "I practiced all night but couldn't condense the chakra. You must have concealed the key to cultivation. Hurry up, tell me quickly." Finally, Ye Feng and Dai Tu repeatedly confirmed that there was no problem with chakra cultivation, which allowed Dai Tu to let Ye Feng go and return home with a disappointed expression. Chapter 6. The Brain-Disabled Uchibo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ye Feng looked at Dai Tu's somewhat lost figure and felt some guilt in his heart. Dai Tu sincerely treated him, but he wanted to hide it from him. Ye Feng is originally an outsider in this world. Once his identity is exposed, who knows if he will be secretly caught by some big shot to study and slice, so Ye Feng cannot be careless. After Uchibo took the soil away, Ye Feng also began to gradually familiarize himself with the strengthened body. After testing his moves, speed, and strength, Ye Feng learned about his physical strength. The strength can already pick up a heavy object of about 150 pounds, and the speed can only be estimated to be about 9 seconds per 100 meters, which exceeds the physical strength of an ordinary adult. This is just one night's achievement, truly worthy of the cultivation method. However, the feeling of rapidly improving his strength is truly captivating, and he can't stop thinking about it. All he wants to do is to focus on cultivation, and the beginning is also the stage of the greatest change. Taking advantage of being awake now, Ye Feng took the remaining money and went out to purchase some supplies. He calculated that he would not go out in the short term and would continue to cultivate at home. This is Ye Feng's second time going out in this world. Although he has some memories of this body, there are not many places that 4-year-old children will go, so Ye Feng plans to take a stroll around. Along the way, seeing some people see the Uchiha emblem on Ye Feng's body, they instinctively move away from Ye Feng. This made Ye Feng couldn't help but sigh. The Uchibo clan is really not favored by the villagers. I don't know if we can set up a stall here. Hurry up and leave. I don't know if it will affect the image of Kiba. We're leaving right away, right away. Suddenly, there was a commotion coming from ahead, and 3 guards dressed in Uchiha uniforms were driving away several villagers who were setting up stalls, cursing and kicking the fruits and vegetables on the ground. A few villagers begged for mercy, packing up their few belongings and quickly leaving. What are you looking at? Hurry up and leave. Do you still want to go for a stroll at the security department? After dispersing the villagers who had set up the stall, the leading Uchibo guard said to the surrounding villagers. Villagers are also afraid of not being able to hide far away. Isn't this the same as the city management in earlier years? In Ye Feng's world, such people are very annoying and rely on the power behind them to bully others. If it were in modern times, it would have been dealt with by public opinion and law enforcement officials long ago, but Hokage world is a place where power is paramount, and families with power and influence have privileges. However, Uchibo and other people are also quite brainless. What good thing would it be if the second-generation Hokage allowed Uchibo to take charge of the Kiba guard department? It would be best to eliminate or expel Uchibo from the village. Why can't so many people in Uchibo see through? He still goes his own way, looking like the boss, his second son. Ye Feng shook his head. He is only a 4-year-old child now, and he doesn't have any strength or status. When he becomes stronger in the future, he can consider changing Uchibo. After all, Ye Feng is also a member of Uchibo now. Ye Feng has wandered through the commercial circle of my quite well. Although there are not as many high-rise buildings as in his past life, it is still very popular, with a wide variety of products to choose from. Many things Ye Feng doesn't know what they are for. Let's forget it for now, and gradually get familiar with it in the future. Let's first solve the current situation. Ye Feng walked to a store and bought a lot of fast food products, such as instant noodles, ham, milk, and so on. He could buy whatever was easy and fast. I bought a very large bag of food, which was much larger than Ye Feng's. Ye Feng is now very strong, otherwise he wouldn't be able to carry it. After buying such a big bag, the store staff was also enthusiastic about helping Ye Feng deliver it back, but before they even made a move, they were surprised to see Ye Feng already carrying this big bag home. Then along the way, a strange scene appeared, with an oversized food bag slowly drifting forward on its own. The small short legs and body below cannot be detected without careful examination. When Ye Feng brought such a big bag home, he saw Uchibo sitting at home with soil. Upon seeing Ye Feng rush over, Dai Tu declared war and said, "I will practice with you in the future. I will rest whenever you want, and I will definitely surpass you." Chapter 7. Conflict. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ye Feng was very clear about what kind of person Uchibo Daitu was, and he didn't take his word seriously. He had to sort and tidy up the things he bought on his own. Now we are really back before the liberation, with no coins in our pockets. Let's practice first and find a way to make money later. Otherwise, we will really starve to death. Only with the ability can we make more money. Ye Feng took out an instant noodle and ham and started preparing breakfast for today. Slice the ham and put it into the instant noodles, pour it into boiling water, wait for the instant noodles to brew well, and then self-deprecate, saying, in a different world, you still cannot escape the fate of a loser eating instant noodles. I'm so sorry, you even brewed a bowl of instant noodles for me. Seeing that the instant noodles were about to be brewed, Uchibo took them away with a very thick skin and a cheap smile on his face. Ye Feng didn't mind either, just rolled his eyes and went to brew a bowl for himself, along with a box of milk. After all, I am still a child now and I need to compensate for some nutrition. When Ye Feng finished his breakfast, he deliberately spoke loudly to Dai Tuesday. I'm going to practice now. There's no way, if cultivation doesn't call it Daitu, maybe how will Daitu criticize him? After speaking, Ye Feng began to sit up and practice the cultivation method, and even with the help of the soil, he began to sit down and learn from Ye Feng. Ye Feng is not afraid of feeling strange with Dai Tuesday. In the world of Hokage, only a few can feel natural energy. Even if he has talent, it cannot be felt in just 1 or 2 days. Moreover, with his understanding of Dai Tu cannot persist for a few days. By the time Ye Feng opened his eyes again, it was almost dark and he felt his body strengthen again. The initial changes in refining the body are the greatest, and with each strengthening, the subsequent changes will become smaller and smaller, all the way to breaking through the limits of the body. Looking sideways at Uchibo and two beside him, he had indeed begun to fall asleep. Awakening Daitu awkwardly argued with a sly expression on his face. I didn't sleep, I was just a bit tired from practicing, so I squinted a little. Ye Feng looked incredulous. Let's wipe off your drool first. Regardless of the soil, I started preparing my own dinner, using instant noodles, ham, and milk as usual. Carrying soil, he walked over and said with a disdainful expression. Still eating this, I'm tired of it. Can we switch to something else? This is the only staple food, the rest are some fruits. Uchibo rummaged through his pocket with dirt and found some crumpled change. Go, take you out to eat ramen noodles. Ye Feng doesn't attach much importance to his desire for food and drink, as long as he can eat enough. But I couldn't hold on to the soil and pulled Ye Feng out. Uchibo led to and pulled Ye Feng towards the commercial street, occasionally turning back to talk to Ye Feng. Suddenly, the soil was ejected back by an opposing force, and he sat down on the ground. Daitu realized that he should have hit someone, and subconsciously apologized. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Looking up with soil, 3 children aged 7 or 8 were bumped into. The leading child looked at their clothes and seemed to be named Uchibo Feng. 2 of them seemed to be attendants, nodding and bowing to Uchibo's children all the time. Yo! Isn't this a fool who is clamoring to be a Hokage? You're just a clumsy person, and you still want to be a Hokage. Let me teach you a lesson and let you know that heaven and earth are thick, don't keep embarrassing Uchibo. As he spoke, he raised his fist and wanted to give Daitu a punch. After all, these 3 people are big children, and Daitu and Ye Feng are only about half of their bodies in front of them. Daitu is also afraid and puts his hands on his head. Daitu waited for a while but didn't feel his fist hitting him. So he looked up and saw that Ye Feng grabbed Uchibo's wrist with one hand, and then heard Ye Feng say. They all belong to the same family, there's no need to be aggressive, and there's no need to lay such a heavy hand. Chapter 8. Qimu Kakashi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ye Feng grabbed Uchibo's wrist and immediately felt that the force of the attack was not small. Although it was not fatal, it also caused pain for a few days. Daitu is considered Ye Feng's first friend in this world, so naturally he cannot watch him being beaten. What kind of thing are you? You dare to meddle in my affairs, which has angered me. I will fight you together later. Uchibo cursed and exerted force, trying to break free from Ye Feng's hand, but no matter how hard Uchibo exerted himself, he couldn't pull it out. Upon hearing Uchibo's words, Ye Feng frowned and the force on his hands suddenly increased, causing Uchibo's hands to start deforming. Uchibo also screamed in pain. "Let go! Let go! What are you two standing there foolishly for? Come and help me, fight me to death." Uchibo's hand was in excruciating pain and he couldn't pull it out. He quickly called for his companions to help. Upon hearing this, Uchibo's companions immediately rushed over. Ye Feng turned his head to look at the two people rushing towards him, his eyes becoming sharp. Shaking away Uchibo's hand with force, taking advantage of Uchibo's head tilting backwards and about to fall, he kicked his chin, and Uchibo took off with his body, flying 3 or 4 meters away, landing heavily on the ground and fainting. The two people who rushed forward, one on the left and one on the right, hooked a fist, and Ye Feng dodged with a low body. Then, a hooked fist hit the chin, and he flew and kicked it in the stomach, kicking it out. At this moment, a foot from the person on the right also came over. Ye Feng grabbed his calf with his right hand and hit the inside of his thigh with his left hand several times. With a flick of his body, he also threw the person out. For Ye Feng's current physical strength, hitting them is like playing. Their speed and moves are incredibly slow in Ye Feng's eyes, and their whole body is full of flaws. Ye Feng hit a few of them, feeling a sense of superiority. So he started pretending to be, and behind his hands, he looked like a master and said, "In the future, let me see you bully people again, I'll see you fight again. Go." The two people quickly lifted up Uchiha Feng and limped away in the crowd. "Wow, Ye Feng, you're so amazing. Uchibo is already a 3rd grade student at ninja school, and he was defeated by you in one go. When did you suddenly become so amazing? If you can focus on cultivating, you can also become powerful. Who made you sleep?" Uchibo scratched his head awkwardly upon hearing the words and quickly changed the topic. Let's go, hurry up and eat. I'm starving." When I arrived at the Lammy and Noodles restaurant, I saw a child with white hair and the lower half of his face covered with dirt. He was sitting there with his head bent down. He pointed at the child angrily and said, "Kakashi, why are you a dead fish I hear? Quickly disappear from my sight. Stupid." Kakashi glanced up at Daitu and then lowered his head, so angry that Daitu was about to go up and fight. Ye Feng awkwardly pulled Daitu from behind, thinking to himself, "You also want to fight Kakashi. He's a genius ninja, and even if you're facing the goddess of Mao in the future, you can still get in touch." Uchibo sat next to Kakashi with Tu and Ye Feng, saying to Ye Feng, "Remember this face, this is my enemy. From now on, when you see him, it's like teaching Uchiha Feng a lesson. Teach him a lesson." "Hi, my name is Uchibo Ye Feng." "Nice to meet you," Ye Feng awkwardly said as it was his first time meeting Kakashi. "Qimu Kakashi." Kakashi looked up and turned his face slightly, saying his name and then turned back. "See, it's just a dead fish's eye. Don't pay attention to him in the future," said Daitu angrily. In fact, when Ye Feng saw Kakashi, he not only thought of his genius side, but also of what he looked like under the mask. In Naruto anime, he had always been a mystery, so he whispered to Daitu. "Have you seen all of Kakashi's face? Has he been wearing a mask all along? The first time I saw him was wearing a mask, as if I hadn't taken it off before. If you don't say I haven't noticed yet, I actually haven't seen his entire face." Then, with a mischievous smile on his face, he said to Kakashi. "Kakashi, why didn't you take off your mask? Is it because you have big buck teeth or pursed lips?" Chapter 9. Who else is there? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Qimu Kakashi ignored the words with soil directly. "Carrying soil to launch a surprise attack, I had to take off my face mask, but I was punched in the face by Kakashi and fell off my chair. Kakashi, you're going too far. I want to duel with you. Kakashi remained silent and indifferent to the soil. I pulled the soil and whispered to him. Don't worry, you always have to take off the cover when eating noodles later, otherwise how can you eat noodles? Dai Tu also suddenly realized. In no time, the noodles came up together, and the three of them said, let's move. Then Dai Tu and Ye Feng kept staring at Kakashi. Kakashi also holds the mask in his left hand and holds the ramen noodles in his right hand, which shows Kakashi's true face. Dai Tu and Ye Feng also keep their eyes open and hold their breath. Unconsciously, his dusty fingers accidentally entered his bowl, causing him to scream in pain and continuously blow on his hot red fingers to cool them down. Ye Feng was also attracted by the movement of carrying soil, and instinctively lowered his head to look. When Ye Feng regained consciousness and wanted to look up again, Kakashi's bowl had already been eaten up and his mask had been taken back. What kind of speed is this? Dai Tu had just regained his senses, and looking at Kakashi's empty bowl, he was also surprised by Kakashi's eating speed. After finishing his meal, Kakashi also said hello and left, leaving only Ye Feng and Dai Tu looking at each other. They also started eating noodles at lightning speed, trying to see if they could reach Kakashi's eating speed. However, the two of them gave up at the beginning and couldn't reach this speed. After finishing their meal, Dai Tu and Ye Feng went back. When he arrived at home, Dai Tu used the excuse that his grandmother was alone at home, fearing that his elderly family would be afraid, and ran away directly. Ye Feng knew his personality and didn't expose him. It would be even better if he left, and he didn't worry about others disturbing his cultivation. He wants to transform into a cultivation maniac and then leave the novice village as a big shot. In the following half-month, Dai Tu came early to greet Ye Feng and then for various reasons to avoid cultivation. Ye Feng was also happy and quiet, feeling the strengthening of his body every day and full of motivation. However, after half a month of motionless cultivation, Ye Feng felt a bit stiff in his body. It's time to get active, and I don't know what level my body has reached. Thinking of this, Ye Feng also left his home and went to the training ground. I am not familiar with my current abilities, but I feel very strong. If there is a shocking scene, it will be difficult to clean up. Ye Feng does not want to be noticed by the people in the village, especially now there is a dark tree leaf. Jitsuan Tuanzang. Who knows what will happen if he is targeted by Tuanzang? My strength is not strong enough, and Jitsuan Tuanzang still has no limit. Before Ye Feng has self-protection, he still needs to develop Woodleaf and not be reckless. In the past half-month, Ye Feng's mental strength has also increased a lot. Although he can't release it, he can already sense whether there are larger creatures within 50 meters around. This can avoid some eyeliner and prevent people from watching. Of course, if he encounters the perception ability like the Sunshine family, he will have no move. Ye Feng carefully avoided the crowd, and his perception was constantly amplified. He estimated that the closest person he met would be over 100 meters away from him before stopping and starting to warm up and familiarize himself with his body. Firstly, it was strength. Ye Feng found a tree with a diameter of over 30 centimeters and a height of 4 meters, hugged the trunk and lifted it upwards. At first, the big tree remained motionless. With Ye Feng's efforts, the tree was gradually pulled up, and then it was thrown out in a circle by Ye Feng. This power is definitely over 1,000 pounds, stronger than any previous strongman. Then came the speed. Ye Feng compared the distance between two trees, about 30 meters away. Ye Feng began to rush from one tree to another, and in just 2 seconds, he sprinted to the side of another tree. This speed is only about 7 seconds per 100 meters. Finally, let's test our attack power. With just one punch, we broke a half-meter thick tree at the waist. Ye Feng was also surprised by his physical strength. With this attack power, who can withstand it in the lower ninja? If it's in the middle ninja, perhaps we can use some ninjutsu to resist it. But no matter how old Ye Feng is, at the age of 4, he can be compared to some moderate tolerance. Ye Feng's heart was filled with arrogance, and he even exclaimed to himself, who else? Chapter 10. Extracting the disadvantages of chakra. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The territory of the Uchiha clan, located in the largest house in the middle. Fuyue, since the death of Uchibo Jing, Uchibo has been secretly resisted by the higher-ups. Qimu was co-founded by Uchibo and Chisho back then, but the higher-ups do not have the voice of Uchibo. Uchibo himself is now weak, and there is also a group of people in the tribe, led by the second elder and fourth elder, who incite the tribe to replace Kiba's senior management and become Kiba's spokesperson. It is beyond one's ability. There are internal and external troubles, sigh. Father, the highest level of the family now is only the 3-go Jade Sharingan, and the improvement in upper ninja itself is not much. The highest level is only reaching the level of elite upper ninja. Without the kaleidoscope Sharingan, there is no shadow-level combat power, and the members of the family rely too much on the Sharingan. Activating the 3-go Jade gives them the qualification for elite upper ninja. Although it is fast, it also limits their strength limit. The two people inside the room, sitting at the top is Uchiha Tenchang, the clan leader of Uchiha, and sitting at the bottom is Uchiha Fuyue, the son of Uchiha Tenchang and the next clan leader. How is Jie Xian's son doing now? Yuzhi Boshinchang asked. Note. Uchibo Ye Feng's father is called Uchibo Jie Xian, Jie Xian's child's name is Uchibo and Ye Feng. Upon receiving news of his parents' death, he fainted but did not awaken his Sharingan. However, after waking up, he seemed to have changed and became very diligent, constantly practicing at home. A few days ago, he easily defeated Uchibo and 3 others alone. Uchibo Feng is 7 years old, and he is about to graduate and become a ninja in just 1 year. A 4-year-old child can easily solve all 3 of them. It should be a good opportunity to pay more attention, and it can also be a good opportunity to receive more compensation. Ninja school will start in 2 months, so let's also send them to school to study together. The cost will come from the family. Yes, I will pay attention. The disappearance of Jie Xian and his wife is somewhat mysterious. Although there is occasional friction between villages, there are very few incidents within the territory of the Fire Country. This time, there is no trace of the body, which is abnormal. Send more people to investigate. If it is done well by outsiders, it is also the villagers. Does my father suspect that the village officials are targeting us? I'm not sure about this, it's just that killing 1 or 2 people doesn't affect the overall situation. It's also impossible for the 3rd generation to carry out large-scale massacres, otherwise the ultimate victim would still be the village. The 3rd generation wouldn't be so foolish, just afraid they have other purposes. In short, let the tribe members who go out pay attention first, and the defense work in the village should also be intensified, especially paying attention to the movements of the dark and root areas. Yes, father. Looking at Ye Feng's side again, just after testing his strength, he was thinking about the future. In the realm of refining the body is relatively strong, but the true chi cultivated has been nurtured in the body, leaving no trace of it in the elixir field. To fight against others, one can only use pure strength moves. Compared to pure physical techniques, Ye Feng prefers fancy and powerful techniques such as ninjutsu or swordsmanship. My body has now exceeded the standard of an average adult, is it okay for me to condense my chakra? Thinking of this, Ye Feng couldn't wait to sit down and start refining the chakra. However, not long after practicing, Ye Feng began to furrow his brows. The strengthened body combined with strong spiritual power could indeed extract chakras faster and more. However, Ye Feng clearly felt that the body that extracted chakras was a bit weak, although it was not obvious, it was still noticed by Ye Feng. Immediately stop practicing chakra and start practicing the cultivation method. With the gradual accumulation of true chi, the body has also returned to its full state. Sure enough, chakra was not randomly generated. Chakra is extracted from spiritual energy and physical energy, and the physical energy condensed from the body is also condensed from cells. Each extraction of chakra is equivalent to extracting nutrients from cells. Although it does not cause cell death, long-term weak cells can affect the frequency of cell division and regeneration. We all know that a decrease in the number of cell divisions and damage to non-renewable cells can directly affect our lifespan. Extracting body energy is just reducing lifespan. No wonder in the world of Hokage, where there are chakras and natural energy, there are not many who live a long life, only a few who make themselves neither human nor ghostly, just like in Kadoku, a village in Takanabu. Among normal people, the longest living is the third generation of Tsukikage in Iwamura. Anoki. Having passed away at the age of 80 is already considered a long life, and there are few who have a strong body like a whirlpool. Now Ye Feng hesitated whether to extract the chakra. Refining may reduce a certain lifespan, so let's not refine. Whether it's writing chakras, ninjutsu, or body spells, they all require a certain amount of chakra as support. Ye Feng is still very envious of the ninjutsu in Huiying, which is like a bug. Ye Feng is not an overly conflicted person either. Since he can't make up his mind, let's put it aside for now. Perhaps in the future, with higher cultivation, there will be a solution. When the car reaches the mountain, there must be a way, and when the boat reaches the bridge, it will naturally go straight. Ye Feng, who had figured it out, also began to pack up and go home, continuing his cultivation career.